is me being overly excited about successfully live looping on stage using the HX Stomp. And today I thought I'd give you a quick tutorial on how you can get the best live looping setup that has worked for me so you can reach these levels of euphoria. Hello, Billy here and welcome to another video. As you can tell from the title, I'm going to be showing you how to set up your HX Stomp to be a live looping pedal for your gigs. Now recently I've started playing around London myself and I only do a solo act, so it's just me, guitar and vocals. I don't know why I said me, just guitar and vocals. And as much as I love the freedom of playing live without having to be restricted by playing the songs as they were recorded, for example, I do miss that live band setting where you can lift the energy up, you can feel the groove a little bit better. And apparently, according to technology, you don't need a band. I'm just kidding. However, if you're in a similar phase as me and you are going out playing live gigs and you happen to have an HX Stomp and you would like to include live looping into your sets, I've got a solution for you. So firstly, I'll walk you through how I set up the HX Stomp, what pedals I use, how I assign the foot switches to different things. And then once we've gone through that, I'll demonstrate how I use it using one of my original songs, Kiss Until the Sunrise, which is the whole reason why I created a setup like this, because it's a 3-chord pop song, super easy to play, and it works really well with just looping those 3 chords and building layers on top of that. If you want to check out the original song, I will leave links in the description down below, so make sure you check it out. If you want, drop a follow on Spotify or share it with your friends, whatever you want. Now, if you don't have an HX Stomp, but you have some other amp sim, you might find some inspiration from how we set up our pedals, and let me know in the comment section if it's very similar to something else that you've got. So with that said, let's jump into the HX Stomp and look at the setup. So here we are looking at the HX Stomp. Now, if you're just starting out and you haven't got something set up already with a looper, I would recommend you take one of the default presets, make sure you clear all the blocks, make sure it looks nice and tidy, nothing on it, so we're starting from blank. And if you want, you can rename it looper setup like I have. I will make this patch available for anybody who wants to download and not go through the hassle of setting it up, but it's pretty straightforward. I think it's easier for you to set it up rather than downloading something. All right, so in order to make sure that you've got a clear preset, what you do is you go into this view and you hit action, and then if you had pedals on it, so let's just set something random. So let's say we put a distortion, just put something random for now. So let's say you had this pedal, you'd go to action, and then what you could do is hit the next page to the right, and then hit clear all blocks, and then just hit OK. There you go. So now we're starting from scratch. So the first thing that I would set up is actually what amp you want to use. I like to use the Princess amp, so I'm just going to go and set this up really quick. So let's go down to our... where are they? Did I pass that? No, amp and cab. Let's just do a combination just to keep it simple. If you want to go more detailed, you can just choose a different head and a different cab. But for now, we'll just keep it easy. And let's find the US Princess. Now, obviously, don't have my guitar plugged in, so I'm not going to tweak any sounds yet. But I'm just going to set up all the blocks that I want to have. So for this one, how do we move it over? So you move it over by hitting action and you can place it there. I would somewhere in the middle just to give you enough room before and after. The next thing I would set up is just a reverb of your choice. I would put it after the amp. So let's go in here and we'll put on let's say a plate reverb. So let's select this. Now, the choice of mono or stereo really depends on how you hook up the HX Stomp at your gigs. I tend to carry 2 balance cables with me, so if I have the option on running stereo, I prefer the stereo. For now, we'll keep it stereo just because that's the setup we've got, and we'll choose the dynamic plate. It doesn't change anything in regards to the looping. So we've got our amp and we've got our reverb. Another thing that I like to add is an octave pedal. So that just gives me the option to lay down a bass line without having a bass player. So let's go in here and we'll go down to pitch and synth. Let's keep it stereo since we are in stereo. Or we could do, actually let's try mono, let's do mono. And let's put the octavo, however you pronounce that. Again, hit action to move it if you want. Now, you may want to include a compressor pedal before that or something else, maybe a distortion after that. But I like to keep my setup simple because obviously being the HX Stomp, your options in terms of foot switches is quite limited. So I would only, you'll see later on that we'll only assign one of the foot switches to control the octave pedal to activate and deactivate it. And everything else will be used to control the looper. So we've got our bass, we've got our amp, we've got our reverb. Last thing that you want to do, I usually put this at the end of the chain, we're going to include the looper pedal. So all the way to the bottom, we'll go to looper, select that. Stereo, mono, I'm going to keep it stereo for now. And the one you want to choose is the one switch looper. So we'll select that, and that's going to be at the end. So now you've got all, let's say you've got your amp, you've got your reverb, you've got all the pedals that you want to use, the sound that you want to get, and at the very end you have your looper. Now we need to assign the foot switches. So we need to make sure that we are able to control the playback and the recording of the looper. And the way we do this is we're going to change view, and we're going to go into this view where you can see each stomp pedal, each foot switch. You're going to hit both page selections. Might have to use two hands for that. And we're going to go into command center, and you just select that by hitting the third button. So in this section, you can actually do some cool stuff. What we care for is these three foot switches. So the controlling foot switch 1, foot switch 2, foot switch, I can say that word, and foot switch 3. The ones that we care for now is foot switch 2 and foot switch 3. So let's go to foot switch. Oh, that's going to be a pain to say. Let's go to the second foot switch. Under the command option, we're going to rotate that, and we want to go all the way to the end, if I remember, where it says looper. And then what we're going to do is we're going to assign what happens when we press on that button. So at the moment, if we left it the way it is, if you were to hit on the second foot switch, it would just play the loop if you had anything recorded. We want to assign the second foot switch to be the record and overdub. So once you record something, it gives you the option to stomp on it again, and then you can overdub another part. So all you're going to do is you're going to scroll through until you see Rec OD. So that's the one that you want. Make sure as we're doing these, you hit save. So double click that, hit save. Let's go back into our command center. And now we're going to move over to the third foot switch. Again, we're going to select the looper. And for this third foot switch, we want to assign it to be the play and stop. So under looper, you're going to go all the way to the end. Oh, not the end, sorry. The third option, which is play and stop. Again, hit save. Make sure you're saving your progress as you go, just in case you make a mistake. And now you're going to, if you have this view, you're going to just scroll through the page views, and this is what you want to see. So you see the middle one is the record button, and you got stop and play over there. Now for the first foot switch, I'm going to assign it to our octave pedal. So it will be my on and off for the octave pedal. All you do is you scroll over to the octave pedal, you hold or you touch basically the foot switch, and it does this cool thing where you can just assign it. So you have to do it pretty quickly. Hit OK. And now my first foot switch will be my octave pedal on and off. So then if I want to layer a guitar part and then layer a bass part, I can do that quite easily. Now, when I first set this up, I found that it was quite tricky to get the timing well. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to do something like this for a live gig, make sure you just practice and you get through the motions of which foot you need to use, not which foot to use, but which foot switch you need to stomp on first and which one to avoid. Now with this setup, there's a few things that you need to keep in mind. Obviously, when you have nothing laid down yet, the first button that you're going to push on is the record button. So you're going to stomp on the second foot switch. You're going to layer your guitar part, your strumming pattern, whatever it is, and then instead of stomping on the record button again, you're going to hit the play button. The reason being is that if I hit the record button, it will record. Obviously, we're not recording anything. But then if I stop it again, it goes into dub in mode. And we don't want that. That means that you need to layer another part on top of it. So if we go back, you're going to hit record, you're going to layer your part, and then once you're done recording your guitar part or whatever it is you're recording, you're going to hit play. That takes it out of recording mode, but it'll keep the loop going. So now every time you want to add another layer, you just hit dub in, and now you can hit the same button to do dub out. So the tricky thing is just remembering when do you hit the record button to stop and start your recording. Just remember, first loop is always record, then play and stop. And then for any other layer, it's just the dub in, dub out. So now that I've confused you entirely on how to use this, let me just demonstrate how I use it live and how I layer my sections for a song that I've got called Kiss Until the Sunrise. And that's how I use the HX Stomp. As you can tell, you can have tons of fun with it. You can layer multiple things. If you're using an electric guitar, I would recommend you play around with your volume knob just to make sure that not everything's recorded at a very hot signal. Just think about mixing, how you would mix a song. You know, maybe have the rhythm part a little bit louder, the bass line a little bit lower, and then you can add your scratches a little bit further back. You can mess around and see what works for you. Thankfully, you know, I've done 5 gigs so far where I've tried this out. 4 out of the 5 worked well. There was only one situation where I had a technical issue and then I actually stomped on the wrong foot switch, messed it up. But if that happens, just, you know, keep on going. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. If doing something like this stresses you out or you're not quite confident in how to execute the entire thing, first thing, just practice and you'll be fine. It's a very simple setup. It's not as complicated as it may seem to be. But do what I did my first gig. I just prefaced it making a joke saying that, you know, I'm going to attempt to live loop. If it goes south, just, you know, pretend that it never happened and just make a joke out of it. And if it does go wrong, just stop the loop pedal and just play the song. Jump back into the chorus or something like that and you'll be fine. If you stuck till the end, thank you for being here. As always, you know, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. It does help out the channel, and also get notifications for new music that's coming out or any new videos, and that's always fun, isn't it? Also, if you do have an HX Stomp and you want the exact same patch, don't forget there will be a free download link in the description down below. And if you got a better setup, let me know in the comment section. I'm always looking for new ways to set up the HX Stomp to do some cool stuff in live situations, so let me know. Thanks again, and until next time, take care.